Hi, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Aspirant CCG's Season 5 of our Hearthstone League. We're in Week 3 right now, and we're going to be seeing a couple great matches today, both of which are going to be presented live. So we are on a 10-minute delay, I believe. Should have introduced myself, right? I'm Anna Jane MTG, and I'm here with Dragon Rider.
Ooh.
How are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I'm getting right back into the groove of casting because I haven't done this in like a little bit, especially with Aspirant. So I apologize for being a little awkward on the start there, but whatever. You know, things happen. Yeah. So, what do you think of this new season or this new the new expansion?
It's been really good, and I think we've even seen that in a lot of these matches and the season so far, because this has been one of our most diverse metas that we've had. So we're seeing a lot of different classes, a lot of different decks, and I feel like even a lot of kind of variations in the different decks that we're seeing. So that's been really cool to see throughout all of these weeks, and I think we have some interesting decks and interesting matches lined up for tonight as well.
Yeah, of course. You want to look at the deck lists?
Yeah. So our first match is going to be SnakeFawdz versus Tues. So we are jumping into the first set of deck lists here for SnakeFawdz with the kind of tempo Cyclone Mage, a Bomb Warrior, kind of a Galakron Dragon Priest, and then Soul Demon Hunter. Just looking at the deck list, I'm not really seeing anything that kind of stands out to me as being kind of unusual for these lists. I think these all feel pretty standard for these deck variants. Is there anything that jumps out at you?
I did notice that you know, in the Dragon Galakron Priest, we have 2 Disciple of Galakrons as the only invoke cards. But we also have like 2 Cleric of Scales, 2 Draconic Studies. So we have this dragon package as well. And some of the decks lists I've seen before have moved towards just like the whole dragon thing and cutting disciples as well. But it seems like SnakeFawdz has put those back in. So we do have the potential to power up Galakron a little bit, which might have an impact in the late game.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, like you mentioned. I guess there's are those disciples really the only thing that? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, there's no time rips, no shields.
Yeah. So if both Disciple of Galakrons can be played before Galakron, then 2 minions can get killed when the Galakron battle cry goes off. But other than that, most likely the Galakron just gets played to kill off one thing. But in some matchups, the minion that it kills, sometimes we've seen Galakron just being played on curve or, you know, with no minions on board anyways. So we'll see if that comes into play in some of these matches here. But is there anything else that you want to mention on these lists before we jump to Tues lists?
So with the warrior list, I definitely noticed a couple differences between they both have bomb warrior. So I've noticed a little differences. Like Snake isn't playing a risky skipper package.
Right.
So there's no Sky Raiders as well. So
Yeah,
I feel like you're going with like a slower version of Bomb Warrior.
Yeah, there kind of have been 2 variants of Bomb Warrior that have kind of come up, and that's, like you mentioned, the one with that kind of pirate package that runs the skippers, and it's also running armor smiths and kind of goes for more of an armor gain game plan. But this version, yeah, it's a little bit more control oriented, not quite as much armor gain, but runs things like the Lord Barov, the shield blocks, more just kind of AoE removal tools, and activators like the Whirlwind and Coerce to kill multiple things. Or the Whirlwind can clear a small board, but often that might be used in combination with something like the Blastmaster Boom to actually clear off the bombs, or be paired with that Barov, like I mentioned, to clear boards as well. So yeah, they do play a little bit differently. But we will see that skipper package that you mentioned in just a moment. So
Yeah,
definitely
no.
interesting the way they went with those.
Okay, great. I think we're ready to take a look at Tues lists. All right, so here we have Soul Demon Hunter again. We have Bomb Warrior, like we mentioned. We have Highlander Priest, and we have the Tempo Mage again. So they're playing the same lineup basically, except the Priest is Highlander for Tues. Other than like the little variations and whatever, but they both decided to bring the same 4 classes. What do you think that? How do you think that like speaks to this meta?
Yeah, I think they both kind of went for the same line of thinking, and I'm really curious to see how kind of this almost complete mirror lineup is going to end up playing out, because I feel like even in a lot of the tournaments, we've seen kind of a mix of some of these slower decks versus aggro decks, and neither of these players even brought a single aggro deck. So I'm really curious to see how this pans out, because yeah, that's something that I feel like we've seen fairly often in some of these matches, and this just is a match that is not happening.
Yeah, we might be in for a pretty long round 1. You were mentioning.
Yeah.
One of the differences I noticed in this Soul Demon Hunter was that Snake is playing Magtheridon, whereas Tues is not. Is that something have you played with that card a lot?
It's not something that I've done a lot of testing with myself, but it has been used definitely with that Demon Hunter. So it can be good or it could be bad, I guess, depending on kind of how the lineups go. But some decks just really have a difficult time answering that 12/12 if it's able to come out on the board. But a lot of lists have removed it just because things like Priest and Mage. I mean, Mage can just freeze it. They have the devolving missiles that can kind of answer it,
Awful.
but yeah, it's not the best answer. But Mage can freeze it. Priest has some pretty efficient removal, and even Warrior with things like Bladestorm and the Bear Elves can answer that pretty easily. So I feel like in this lineup specifically, that Magtheridon might actually become a little bit of a hindrance.
Right. I mean, Warrior does have Coerce as well, but that's something that we don't see in Tues' list. So
yeah.
The other thing I noticed is that they're playing the exact same 30 cards for Mage.
Yeah, it feels pretty common. Like I said, it's a pretty standard list. Yeah, very interesting though. I think it's also interesting. I feel like a lot more players are bringing kind of this tempo Cyclone Mage as opposed to Turtle Mage, which is another one we've been seeing. But there has kind of been a debate about this tempo Mage being a little bit better in ladder games versus competitive. Some players argue that Turtle Mage is a better bring for tournaments, but it could just be that these players are more comfortable with this tempo Mage rather than the Turtle Mage, or they just feel like it's a little bit more versatile, so they included it in their lineups.
Yeah, so yeah, like all of our players brought Mage this week, but only one brought Turtle Mage. Everyone else brought the Tempo Mage, and that's the only class that everyone decided to bring. So we have 4 Mage decks today, and it looks like our Warriors were banned. So we're not going to be seeing any Bomb Warrior in this matchup. No bombs. We don't have to count them. I don't have to get my dice out,
No skippers, no bomb shenanigans. But that is a little interesting because it does remove things like the Bear of, the Bladestorms, the Coerce from Snake. So maybe that will make that Magtheridon a little bit more useful. But again, things like in the Priest deck and Mage being able to freeze potentially could slow that Magtheridon down for Snake. So interested to see how that ends up.
Yeah, definitely. We are waiting for our players to get started because we do have live matches. So they should be starting anytime soon, but we can't say for sure when they're going to be starting. So, so Dragon Rider,
Yes.
what are you looking forward to in this season? It's only week
Ooh.
3.
It is only week 3. I'm looking forward to finding out who gets into playoffs because I feel like this season we have a lot of new faces, but we also have a
Mhm.
lot of players who have been around for a while. Who, Fanboy we had last week, and he's last season's winner. I really am looking forward to the playoffs and to see kind of how many veterans and how many kind of new players end up making it into those playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I am too. I'm really excited to, but it's great to see some new faces. And, it's great that we've the league's expanded up to 5 divisions. We only had 4 last season. So we've got more players and a lot of new players. So really excited to see. All right.
Yeah,
And we're just about ready to go down to the match.
perfect. Now, what do we think is going to be queued up first here? I mean, we're jumping into the beginning of the match, so it could be anything. But if you had to take a guess, what do you think we're going to see first?
Priest Mirror.
Oh no! Let's see. Oh, I can't
Oh
wait.
no.
Oh, I a little bit. I hope it's not a priest mirror. Although,
Mhm.
if we do end up seeing the priest played against each other, I do like the fact that it's 2 different priest lists. So
Yeah,
we
for
would be
sure.
seeing the Highlander versus kind of that Dragon Galakron. So that could be pretty
Mhm.
interesting to see how
Which
that lines up.
which deck do you think's favored there?
Um, hmm.
Okay, well,
Oh well.
it doesn't quite matter yet. We are seeing Demon Hunter for Tues and Mage for SnakeFawdz. So SnakeFawdz just decides to throw the whole hand back. Uh,
Yeah.
he's playing first, and Tues is still thinking about their mulligans, keeping one of the 2 Mana Feeder Panthers and throwing the rest back.
Yeah, I think both players ended up with a little bit better hands here after
Oh
those
yeah,
mulligans.
and drawing the the Violet Spellwing on turn 1 gives SnakeFawdz a nice turn 1 play as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just playing right on curve, throwing out
Mhm.
that Astromancer, but more spell damage coming into hand with the lab partner.
Yeah, really looking for like a cram session or something to pay that off.
And Tues has a
Two.
lot of this fragment required cards in hand, just nothing to actually create those fragments and put them in the deck. So if Tues
There are
doesn't
2
find
so
anything,
far.
yeah,
So we did play the Spirit Jailer on turn 1.
right. It's going to be a matter of that's not quite enough to play out everything from the hand
Mhm.
here, unless Tues can find a little bit more.
And just hope they don't find a Soul Fragment.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's always
Sometimes the
the
deck
awkward
has a way of doing that to you, doesn't it?
thing. Mhm. Oh, we get a magic trick for
Right.
SnakeFawdz.
Yeah, gonna go for it. See. Hmm. Another Ray of
What is your pick?
Frost. Yeah, Learn Draconic or Ray of Frost is kind of what I'm looking at here.
Mhm.
I don't really feel like Tues is going to end up going wide on board or have enough board to really feel like a Ray of the Frost Nova is worth it
Mhm.
when you can kind of single target with those Ray of Frosts.
Right.
And the Ray of Frost are just a little bit cheaper as well. So if SnakeFawdz can find a Sorcerer's Apprentice, those
Mhm.
become 0-cost spells that also can work with generating extra spells if a Cyclone comes in hand.
Yeah, and just having, being able to do a bunch of like little one-shot spells instead of, committing 3 mana on a single turn is important early on in the game. So Tues plays another Panthara.
Does
Snake,
find that soul shear too, so
able to clean up something with that and get another couple soul fragments. All right, so just threw a consume magic for twos, which something like there isn't a. I mean, you could use it on the lab partner, but otherwise, just gonna sit there and you have to, get it to outcast again. Is it something that you'd consider like just cycling here for a new card?
it might be. I'm not really sure what other targets you're really looking for to actually
Mhm.
silence, unless Tues wants to wait for a Sorcerer's Apprentice. But there's
Yeah,
probably more
or
effective ways to deal with a Sorcerer's Apprentice than a Consume Magic.
yeah, Chenvala or Raz, I guess, would be another nice targets as well. But I
Yeah,
think that's about it.
yeah.
And yeah, looks like Hughes is thinking about just taking Taunt away from one of these mirror images.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all here. The Soul
Mhm.
Shear might come out too, just to clean up that lab partner.
Right, and get two more soul fragments in the deck. So now
Yeah.
we have four. Now we have enough to play everything in our hand to its fullest value, but notwithstanding, any accidental draws.
And SnakeFawdz still just sitting with some cheap spells here, but nothing really
Mhm.
to pair with it.
There's a Chenvala.
Well, I spoke too soon.
Right. So probably not something you want to throw down now because
No.
you can't
You get 3
back
activations
right
on it.
away, yeah.
Yeah.
But on turn 6 you'll be able to get one, and then if they don't deal with it, you're able to just keep making more next turn.
Yeah. I wonder if this is just the evocation feels a little bad because there's not
Mhm.
really a lot of mana to play with the spells afterwards, but it could be something. Finding
Really?
another lower cost spell that could generate something else or a
Mhm.
secret that would cause Tues to have to play around it could be enough.
Yeah, it's it's not something you really want to throw out for just having
Yeah.
4 mana up. And looks
Yes.
like Snake decides it's going to be worth it to save that and just
Yeah.
uses a ping. So
Yeah, pretty passive turn,
mhm.
but setting up for much more powerful turns in the future.
Right, for sure. And Tues is going to just go face here with this Gladebound Adept.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm. We have the two Soul Shard Lapidaries being able to just generate a lot of face damage here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe sensing some weakness from Snake on that really poor turn 5, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also some recognition, not only like you said, that the previous turn was fairly weak, but also knowing that weaker turns now could mean more powerful turns later.
Mhm.
So taking this more aggressive route and basically putting Snake kind of on a clock and just saying, now you have to deal with my aggression because you haven't really had any of your powerful swing things yet. So
Mhm.
you have to just deal with my board here now instead. And
Yeah, we're gonna
looks
see
like,
that.
yep, just gonna keep going with that same pattern.
Sending 6 to the face, bringing Snake down to 12. We saw Snake picked up a Mana Cyclone last turn, but didn't really go off with it. But I think it seems pretty clear that this is Tues is just going to go face and firing off all these spells without Chenvala.
Yeah, choosing to go for the Mana Cyclone for refill here. Some fairly clunky spells, which seems weird to say because they're all 4 and less, but this deck is really looking for a lot of one cost things.
Yeah, the Arcane Explosions could help clear this board, but I feel like
Yeah, I think Snake really
that
wants
Twin Slice.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. Yeah, so much damage. Snake really needs to find spell damage. Where's all the spell damage stuff?
Well, there's the primordial studies that get spell damage.
Yeah, is it too late though? Because this is kind of,
unless we get a taunt, right? That's the only, you know, I think that might be.
Well, I think I saw a blizzard.
Freeze.
Yeah.
I think we need to freeze Tues though. Like we need a frostbolt here.
Yeah.
In addition to this cone, we didn't get it.
Yep. With our vision, we can see that there is still a lot of damage in hand for Tues.
Oh, if there's no ice block, right? Or no ice barrier.
No barrier. Yeah, so Snake trying everything to just clear as much of this board and slow down some of this damage, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah,
that twin slice just.
Do we do the altruist kill?
Oh my
yes. Oh, Tues with a little overkill. We see here on and Snake decides.
Just ends it. Little salt on the wound.
Put us out of our misery, okay?
Yeah.
So Tues takes game 1 with Soul Demon Hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Fairly quick win there as well. What was that, turn 7 or 8? I mean that's
7, I think.
Yeah, that's fairly quickly for how slow these decks can be. So yeah, just kind of put on the gas and put on the pressure and taking it down fairly quickly. But also, you know, that hand and the not really finding any of the key cards for Snake was kind of just really a hindrance there.
Right. Do you think that would have played out differently had Snake been able to have a little bit better curve there?
It could have, yeah. I think that Snake could have found a lot of ways to deal with those minions kind of one at a time as they came out, instead of having to try to wait until there was already multiple minions on board. So,
and you know, maybe landing Jandis or Raz on 5 would give enough to take some of those lapidaries going to your minions instead of to your face, right?
Yeah. Right. So, and this graphic doesn't show it, but those bomb warriors again have been banned out. So Tues left with the Tempo Cyclone Mage and the Highlander Priest, and Snake can still play the Tempo Mage, the Soul Demon Hunter, or the kind of Galakron Dragon Priest, because we are playing Conquest. So each deck will have to get a win.
For each class that we have. So yeah, we're gonna go into the next game, and it looks like Tues is bringing their Highlander Priest, and SnakeFawdz Demon Hunter worked so well last game. SnakeFawdz decides to bring it here. Tues keeps a Wand Maker, throws the other 2 back, and Snake just throws the whole hand back, and we'll see what they get.
There's that Mechtherodon we were talking about. See what happens with that.
Yeah. drawing your 1-drop on turn 1.
It all works out.
Yeah, just how we want. And so Wand Maker for Tues, getting a Mind Vision. That's fun. We might see Tues get a Mechtherodon.
Ooh.
We also might see Tues get a coin. Oh.
All right. The first Soul Shear coming out here. You're going to put some fragments into the deck.
Up to 4 now. All right.
Okay.
Slamming cars here.
Yeah, just a tempo play. Not really much else going on in this hand anyways. Could have gone for the Madame Lazul, but sometimes players do kind of wait until there might only be 3 cards left in the hand, so they get to see the entire hand from their opponent.
You get full information, and you know, if they're hanging on to something that long, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get stuck with like Blade Dance, Coin, and Soul Shard or Soul Share.
I mean, all of those weapons. Yeah, all of those weapons that Priest plays, you know, they'll take full advantage of that Blade Dance.
And the card that shuffles duplicates into your Highlander deck. Perfect. Yeah, Cards is a card that I've like felt pretty lukewarm on. It's just sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's just like, here's your 3-mana 3/3. So
yeah. All right, gonna go for the Lazul this turn though.
After we got rid of those soul shares, right? There's that coin.
But I do like the fact that seeing this Magtheridon, like you said, gives that information. I'm curious, we might see the Shadow Word Death just be held onto now because that information is there for Tues. So perfect answer for it as soon as that mag comes down. I mean, if it ever does, it might be much later in the game at this point if it does.
Yeah, also kind of interesting though, like when you have cards like Raise Dead, you kind of flood the minion pool. So you know, now we have a Spirit Jailer, and then when Magtheridon comes down, then you have a couple of the warders. So you know, you could have a Raise Dead where you get a couple 1-mana 1/3s that shuffle duplicates into your deck.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, one of the joys of Hearthstone.
And Tues did end up taking that Magtheridon.
Yeah.
Which be pretty interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a little sad we didn't see Tues take the coin, you know, but no, all jokes aside, the Mags was probably the best choice there.
All right, so oh, and we got the Horde Villager from Mind Vision. I think, yeah, kind of awkward because if you got Horde Pillager first, you might be more incentivized to take the Warglaives. Warblade. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But now we don't really have a weapon, so Tues just has a vanilla 4/2. Fun.
Really interesting here by Tues choosing to just play out this Magtheridon. If these kind of 1/3s end up getting killed off, if Snake's Magtheridon wakes up first, and then Tues gets his Magtheridon to go off, that's just an easy answer because Magtheridon, when it comes out of that slumber, it wakes up and destroys everything on the board. So it can kill off Snake's 12/12.
Have you ever seen both come out at once with that? Would you have 12/12s? Would you both have 12/12s, or would like they destroy each other? I don't know.
You know, it's gonna depend on how these little kind of followers or whatever they are, how they end up dying. If the 3 on the board for Tues end up dying first, then Snake's Magtheridon will wake up and clear everything that's on the board, but it will not clear the mag for Tues.
I guess what I was wondering is, do you, if you did a Hellfire, would they both wake up as 12/12s, or would they destroy each other? Oh, we're gonna find out.
Yep, there it goes. So.
Oh no, yeah, that wasn't simultaneous. Yeah.
Yeah. Geez. So that paid off tremendously for Tues, taking that Magtheridon, playing it down, following Snakes.
I'm a little like, you know, we saw Snake do the oops emote, oops emote as also. So I think I'm not really sure how. Yeah, like it's a really strange situation to navigate. So I'm not really sure what the best way to navigate that is, but I feel like Snake didn't quite do what they intended to do.
Yeah. And
just conceding because there's no answer to this 12/12.
Yep, I was just about to say there's really not an answer there. That's just, you kind of hate to see that happen. That is not something you know, maybe in a ladder game, but in a competitive match, that's so rough. That's going to be really hard, I think, for Snakes to kind of deal with mentally. You know, and that also puts Snake down, you know, down 2 games. Tues only has to take a win with the Mage now. You know, I think at this point, Snake just kind of needs to kind of shake it off and trying to get realigned here and see if there's a possibility of trying to come back and maybe go for a reverse sweep if at all possible. But against the mage, that might be kind of difficult.
Yeah, what deck do you think is the best matchup for
Mm,
Snake against Tempo Mage?
that's
No,
so
I mean,
difficult.
I guess the Tempo Mage matchup is 50-50 because they're
Right.
dark mirrors, but
Yeah. And they're playing the same lists, right? So it
Mhm.
is like an exact mirror match there, exact 50-50. Maybe the Soul Demon Hunter has a little bit of a favorable there. So maybe that comes back out.
yeah, but you also have to consider the mental
That's-
thing of just like
Yeah.
having a big. You just made a big oopsie with your Demon Hunter
Mhm.
deck. Like, do you want to run that back right away, or do you want to like do like a palette cleanser with a different deck and try to get a win there?
Yeah, I guess it's a matter of just how comfortable Snake is on these lists. And, you know, that some players, depending on their experience with different decks and different matchups, they might actually feel like they are more favored than what kind of the HS replay or Vicious Syndicate stats might show. So if there's a deck like that for Snake, he might end up bringing that instead of the Soul Demon Hunter, but kind of just going off of those main stats, I would say the Demon Hunter probably is the best bet into the mage.
Yeah, I mean, we did see that in the first game. We saw Demon
Yeah.
Hunter clean up Mage pretty well.
Yeah.
So, all right, should be good to go any moment now.
But yeah, that being down 0-2, especially because of kind of an error of your own, causation that's a tough pill to swallow. And I'm sure that Snake does not feel good right now.
I've been there too, where you feel
Yeah.
like you just threw a game, and now you're like up against the wall, and you have to win to advance. And yeah,
It's that Demon Hunter again. Well, some players might use that as motivation, though. And say like I've done that myself. Okay, I'm not losing this. The
Right.
0-3 sweep. And it motivates you to get back in it. So we'll see if Snake can do that. But bringing the Soul Demon Hunter again, and Tues just has to get a win. This is match point for Tues here.
yeah. You kind of think like, you know what, I screwed up, but I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna play this deck right. So you're gonna expect some perfect play from SnakeFawdz this game.
exactly. And we're ready to see it.
Yeah, we do have a reasonable hand here too. Starting with the Spirit Jailer into Soul Shear and this deck. Tues with a pretty great hand too to start.
Yeah, they both have some pretty decent hands. The Soul Shear, again, a great answer for the spell damage minion here, but something we haven't seen out of the few times we've seen the mage tonight. This is the first time we're actually getting to see the Sorcerer's Apprentice finally showed up.
Yeah, that card that has been so powerful for the entire lifetime of Hearthstone.
And look at all these cheap spells coming into hand too to go with it.
And the coin, like,
yeah,
that's actually pretty huge for Tues here. Being able to turn that coin into more than just a mana at some point down the line.
Yeah.
SnakeFawdz deciding what to do here between the Shard Shatter or the Warblades.
Yeah, not really the best case for either of these.
Right.
Kind of don't want to be using the Warblades until a little bit later when you can actually take advantage of that heal, but yeah, not there. Even though there was a good start for Snake, there's just still kind of not the best options in hand right now.
Yeah, having that Lapidary might incentivize Snake to start just putting some face damage on.
Yeah.
And Tues here just taking a pretty simple third turn, playing the Spell Wing and pinging the 1/3. We have like a couple cram sessions. Just a whole lot of cheap spells for Tues. So we just need that big payoff. And Snake here with a Chaos Strike.
Yeah, drawing one of those fragments, so playing
the
the Lapidary next turn will remove the second one.
Mm-hmm. And there's Mike Therodon.
So does have the possibility of the Magtherodon and the Mystic later. Can play both of them on 7, but would have to generate more fragments kind of in between that. And right now there's nothing in the hand to generate more. But yeah, just going for some more damage here.
Yeah, 5 damage with off the Chaos Strikes. And another Spellwing for Tues. I think maybe it's time to fire off a cram session and just try to dig towards something that can get you.
Yeah, I think at this point looking for some giants and looking for cyclones, probably the best bet.
Yeah, play the Learn Draconic first. Not something that you sign up for with your deck, but I've got it off of the Wand Maker and able to get a little bit more out of that cram session than just one card.
Second Lapidary drawn, but it looks like Snake wants to go for this Magtherodon and probably will play that Shard Shatter Mystic next turn, but hoping that he doesn't draw that other fragment.
What we have 3 fragments.
Are there? Okay, I missed
we had a Soul Shear and a Spirit Trailer. Okay,
I missed that Spirit Trailer.
Yeah.
There's Cyclone.
It was that clean turn 1. It's really easy to miss.
Turn 1, who needs it?
All right, and we got a whole bunch of damage coming at Snake.
Oh. Well, there's one fragment.
Yeah.
Luckily, he played that Jailer on turn 1, though. Good thing Anna Jane was paying attention. Knew that there were more
most of the time I do. Except when I'm not. I mean, it's pretty...
Exactly.
Yeah. So we do have the Mystic clearing up the whole board and getting this 12/12 online.
And as of right now, no freeze. No freeze for Tues.
Well, all right. It's about time to see...
Yeah, we're going to see some
big APM for Tues. We're going to get like 3 elementals off this Chinvala. It's absurd.
Yeah. There's a Ray of Frost.
Oh.
Yep. Snake is not going to be happy to see that Ray of Frost come down.
No. I don't know. You just kind of have to expect that Tues has it, though, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
So many ways to get it.
Yeah.
And just being in your deck as well.
Yep, and I think probably just the coin Cyclone here. Refill the hand.
Get another elemental.
Wow, what a turn.
We could make another elemental too. There's that Devolving Missiles. That cleans up Magtherodon pretty well. Just turning it into
wow.
Sword and Taunt.
And another Frostbolt. And those Frostbolts can go face for more damage and freezing. So if Snake draws into the second Warblades, gets that third 5/5. Oh my gosh. What a swing turn for Tues.
But no, we have... Oh no, we don't have any more souls because we drew.
Yeah.
Oh. If we had another fragment, would have been able to Soul Shard Blade Dance and prevent and be able to take care of some of this damage, but unfortunately not. It's gonna be a clean sweep for Tues.
Yeah, and that Demon Hunter just not getting enough work done during those games for Snake. But I mean, Tues really just looked like knew how to play the matchups. Felt comfortable with the decks, just the speed that he was playing at, and kind of knew exactly what he was looking for each and every turn. So, yeah, really well done to Tues. A bit of an unfortunate series of events there for Snake, but it was really well played by both, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, we still have another, what is it, like 6 weeks after this. So a lot of time left for Snake to make up some ground here.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
wish some best of luck and commiserations. But Tues is advancing to 3-0. I'm assuming. I should have looked at this. Told you I'm only paying attention except when I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a series though.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was. So let me take a look. So yeah, before this, Snake was 1-2. So gonna bring Snake to a 1-3 record. And
Oh yeah, because we're week 3. We had like a double header in week 1. So even
yes.
though it's week 3, our record is 4 now. 4 games.
Yeah, and throughout the weeks, every week a player will have a bye in each of the divisions. And it looks like Tues' record before this week was 1-1. So did have a bye in there already. But that's going to bring Tues' record to 2-1 with the bye already in there as well. So we'll see how that goes for Tues, but on a pretty good start for the early season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm going into that division right now here. Yeah. Yeah, they're, Tues is kind of in the middle. So a nice 3-0 though really helps those game loss tiebreakers.
Yep, absolutely.
So bringing Tues up to 6-5. Now, having a positive win loss in the game column is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into those playoffs that we were kind of talking about earlier, because this is, kind of a format where everybody will end up playing everybody else in the division, even losing, but not losing 0-3 ideally, trying to get some points every week can make a big difference if people are kind of on the cusp of making it, through the division into that playoff. So, these matches do matter.
Those extra 2 game wins, even if you lose a tight 5-game set, those extra 2 game wins could be a deciding factor in whether you get into the playoffs or not when it comes down to tiebreakers and our wild cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that is interested in also kind of looking at the same things that we're talking about now, head on over to aspirant.gg and you can find all of the information there. And Anna Jane, do you want to talk about the VML?
Yeah. If anyone there plays Magic, we have a Magic League as well for female, non-binary, and any other marginalized genders. It is a similar structure here, like a 7-week league split into divisions with a playoff at the end. Usually takes about 9 or 10 weeks total. And we actually have, they're going to the 3rd season, and the winner of the league is getting an invite to the Wizards official Players Tour. So there's a lot on the line this season, and you can watch that tomorrow night. It's on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. on the same channel here. And
yeah, that's really cool that the VML was actually able to land, kind of getting that invite. That is absolutely huge, I feel like, and they've been doing some amazing work over there. So definitely check that out and support. And is that on Friday nights?
Oh, it's on Friday nights. Oh my god!
Okay. I was like, wait, we're Saturday night. That's okay.
Right. It's 9 p.m. on Friday nights.
Yes.
Yeah. When I was involved with it on the first season, we were in the Saturday night spot, and I just kind of, my brain, it's so hard to keep track of time right now with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah,
I always get my days mixed up, so apologize for that.
there's a lot going on for sure. But yeah, and all of this as well is going on the Aspirant YouTube. So please get on the YouTube as well. Search for that Aspirant. Check out the website for any information, standings, and to find any past VODs as well. But I think we might. Are we going to head into possibly a kind of short, just quick break while we get the next match set up?
All right, yeah. So we'll have a quick break. We'll be back shortly with the second match tonight between Harash and Chronic. So hang tight, y'all. All right, welcome back to our week 3 Hearthstone broadcast for Aspirant CCG. I'm Anna Jane MTG here with Dragon Rider, and we are going to be seeing our second match tonight with Harash versus Chronic.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of what we talked about too. Chronic is one of the veterans, been playing in Aspirant for multiple seasons. And this is Harash's first season playing with Aspirant, so kind of one of those veterans versus new players that we kind of talked about earlier. So I'm pretty excited, and look at this variety of classes we're seeing on screen too.
I know. I'm really excited to see these different decks. We're not seeing a single deck that we saw the first time around, except for Tempo Mage.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So let's jump into talking about the deck list. Let's jump into the first set of lists here. That is Harash bringing the kind of Guardian Spell Druid, a Secret Rogue with that Flick Skyshiv at the top end, the Soul Demon Hunter, which has been banned out, and then that Turtle Mage that we did kind of allude to earlier. What do you make of this lineup?
It looks like fun. It's a bunch of decks that I, enjoy playing, and it's also Druid.
Yeah.
Druid's one of those decks that just kind of if it does its thing, it feels absolutely ridiculous, and then if it doesn't, it just feels like really mediocre. So
yeah.
What do you like? Is there anything that sticks out with this list? Because I honestly haven't played this deck because it just isn't my thing, and I'm not quite sure what is off for the list, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so for the Druid list specifically, this is again kind of a fairly typical. We're kind of seeing a shift. If it's not the Maligos list, a lot of players are kind of bringing this double exotic Mount Seller, the 5 different 5-cost beasts, and 1 survival has kind of become pretty common. The 2 overflows, some lists are only running 1, some are running the 2. This list is also running a Wild Growth and then only 1 Bog Beam and the double Iron Bark, as well as these 2 Broomsticks. So those are kind of some of the more notable cards that I'm looking at there.
Yeah, Broomstick's a card that came out and I don't think people were playing right away, and it just kind of popped up and ended up to be a lot better than people had thought.
Yeah, it's way more versatile than a lot of players kind of tested with. I think a lot of people were either really high on it during kind of the card review season, or they were kind of on the opposite end, nah, this is bad. But yeah, it's very versatile, and especially in decks like this Druid deck, using it for these big minions, the big dragons that come out from the Asera portals, things like that, it can really swing the board state tremendously for the Druid. So kind of a huge card there. And then looking at the Secret Rogue list, kind of interesting. There's only 1 ambush being run in this list. And then, like I mentioned, that Flick Skyshiv. And it's a little bit interesting. I feel like sometimes the players, when they're including things like Flick in their deck, it's because they are thinking of that as being very helpful because of the decks that they're bringing, and they're thinking their opponents might bring something similar. For me, I think the Flick could be pretty good against the Druid, and then it's also really good against Turtle Mage if you can get rid of the Tortolan and Pilgrim, especially. But
I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny that you're saying it's really good against decks that Harash decided to bring.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not.
You're pointing this out, but it's not. I don't know if it's going to come into play here. It's not. There's a Highlander deck over there, so that's not gonna be that great. More than just a, pay 6, get a 4/4, and kill something. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a pretty standard secret list to me. Plagiarize is a card that's been really interesting. Definitely changed the way you have to play around Rogue Secrets.
Yeah, and it's a little bit interesting. Plagiarize is one that a lot of the lists have only been running one of, but this list is running two. So we'll see kind of how that pans out. And then as for the mage, there's not a lot of notable things here. Maybe the one Frozen Shadow Weaver, the Boom Pistol Bully is a little bit interesting, and the Sun Reaver War Mage for a little bit of kind of damage over the top. But
yeah, this is a list I haven't really played with or against. I think I played against it like once, and I wasn't sure what they were doing.
yeah,
But now, like, that I saw it, I was like, okay, like, Lore Keeper is a card that, really begs to be broken. And it's something that, with the only highest card being the namesake, Tortolin here, you just kind of, like, play that and guarantee that your next two draws are going to be your basic combo card.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. We have the Bully, we have the War Mage. It's a couple interesting cards that you pointed out.
Yeah. That single Frozen Shadow Weaver, I think, is going to be pretty interesting in classes that kind of run some weapons. And I think that it might be kind of handy in the lineup that Chronic has. So if we want to switch over and look at Chronic's lists, running Highlander Hunter, the Tempo Cyclone Mage that we've kind of already seen some tonight, and this Libram kind of all Paladin list, not the kind of Librum Paladin that we've been seeing that's running the Penflingers and the Brooms.
I have not. I guess I have seen people play Penflingers out of Paladin. So yeah. I haven't seen the Broom though, and I haven't heard the Broom.
Yeah. And also running the Skipper Bomb Warrior, but that has been banned out. But versus the Hunter and the Paladin, kind of that I was mentioning, especially because this is that all Paladin version running those Lightforged Zealots that can equip the 4/2 weapon. That Shadow Weaver in Harash's Turtle Mage list might actually get some use in a couple of these matchups.
Yeah, it's interesting that might come into play here. I feel like I had something to say and just left. Oh yeah, I was like, I made a joke when we found about the bans that, like, Chronic's Warrior got banned, and then Harash's Demon Hunter got banned, and there wasn't a Warrior to ban, so you had to ban the Demon Hunter, right? Like,
right. I think personally, I would have banned the Turtle Mage just because I'm over Mage. Like, no, just let's not play against Mage anymore. But this choice from Chronic also to bring this Highlander Hunter, I love Highlander Hunter myself, so I love seeing this being played. This is kind of something that has kind of been coming back in the meta a little bit. It kind of just got destroyed a little bit by all of the fast aggro decks that were in the meta, but after the most recent nerfs, the meta has slowed down slightly, kind of just enough to bring this Highlander Hunter back. And with Mage being so popular, the Hunter generally does pretty well against Mage, so feels like a pretty good bring.
Right. We have the Lore Keeper Pokalt as well, being able to line up Bran and Siamat at the top of your deck, which is a really nice thing to kind of just like bring the hammer down on your opponent in the late game.
Yeah.
We have this True Aim Crescent, which is a card that it's been hard for me to like value that card. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so the True Aim, and let me see here if this list. Oh, is this list not running Ace Hunter? Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
some of the lists are running both, and they can pair well together. But this
Hmm.
list is actually not running that Ace Hunter Crane. But the True Aim Crescent, you could just get a little bit of extra value, being able to attack with a minion and then hit into something with that Crescent. But it
Yeah.
might not work out as well here. I'm I'm just looking at. I mean, Turtle Mage, they're not really playing a lot of minions until
Mhm.
later. The Guardian Spell Druid, like you probably don't want to be hitting into these kind of really large minions anyways, because it, like you mentioned, if the Druid can kind of get out with what their deck wants to do, they're already going to be pushing a lot of damage and putting on a lot of pressure. And as the hunter, you want to try to be hitting them in the face. You don't want to be using your face to hit their big minions and lose your stuff on the board. So I'm
And
not
with
sure how that's going to pan out.
Rogue, everything's usually really small, like, unless things would get really big, like Edwin, and neither of those are really something that the Crescent's really going to be great at. So
Yeah.
it's a card that it's been hard for me to evaluate, and just because of that, I really haven't played with it. So it's interesting to see that in this list.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I think it can be really, really good with that Ace Hunter, but no Ace Hunter in this list. Um, and then
The-
the mage list, pretty standard. I think this is the same list that we saw in the previous series.
well, they're only playing one Wand Thief.
Yeah. There's only one. Is this list? Yeah, I some lists are only running one copies of some things like that, which it's probably fine. There's a lot of value in some of the other stuff here, but we'll
There's also a fair
see.
amount of like redundancy in this mage list, and just mage in general. Like we were talking about the
Yeah,
Ray of Frost and being able to generate that with like 4 different cards in the deck.
yeah,
Uh, you're missing something. It really, cutting 1 or 2 things for something else might not have as big of an effect as it would in other classes.
yeah. And then this paladin, again, we kind of talked about how this is the kind of all paladin list. There's no neutrals in here, so and also, like you mentioned, no duplicates or and no bomb warrior being run by Harash. So no duplicates really could be added into the deck, or no neutrals could be added in. So I definitely see those Lightforge zealots and getting more value than some of the other potential matchups if Harash had brought different lists. But I think it's going to generate quite a bit of value for the Paladin when we see that.
Yeah, this is a list that I play a lot of pure paladin because I think it's just super fun, and they're playing a lot of the there's like there's 2 Blessing of Kings and 2 Blessing of Authority, so you have a lot of this like big pump stuff to just like make huge minions.
Yeah.
And it's something that a deck like Secret Rogue with their uh, Blackjack Sunners might be able to deal with really efficiently.
Yeah. It's going to be yeah. Those are going to be a big punish for sure. Because of the way that this deck is built. But
Yeah, and also just kind of negating the whole Libram thing when you bounce it.
yeah. Yep. The Libram of Wisdom, especially because that death rattle doesn't actually go off and you kind of just lose that effect.
Yeah, there's no copies of Lightforge Crusader in the Paladin deck here, though.
Yeah.
So we're not going for as much of that late game of just playing a 7 mana draw 5 minion. And
Yeah.
there's also no Lady Liadrin. So once those
Oh,
Librams
it's
are
there.
gone, oh my god, why I'm just looking right at it. Oh my god.
That's okay. Yeah. But that could refill. I mean, like you
Mhm.
mentioned, those Blessing of Authority and the Blessing of Kings, Lady Leatrin can put those back into hand. So this could be some really interesting interactions. And then hopefully in any time now, we will kind of be jumping into the first game. But who do you think just maybe who do you feel in your gut? Who do you think is favored?
I like Chronic.
You like Chronic's lineup?
I like Chronic because I like the Hunter
Yes.
Paladin lists. And, you know, Druid is... I'm not into this Druid deck this year. I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, my kind of Druid was like Malagos Druid, Togwaggle Druid, those kind of decks. I love like that. I think this can have kind of the same thing, but it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
So here we see Harash bringing the Druid here, and Chronic bringing Highlander Hunter. You know, Harash having the coin does help the Druid out a bit, especially if we can find an Overgrowth.
Yeah, definitely. And that broomstick can be pretty helpful too, just a little bit later once there's kind of something. But I'd imagine Harash really wants to find some ramp and ideally the guardian animals, but unfortunately finds some of those 5-cost beasts already. And the oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
Druid, no.
Chronic here has a few. Yeah, this is where we start to see kind of not what you want from the Druid. This might be a game where the Druid just does not find the cards in the order that they're looking for.
So do you, now that we drew Wild Growth, do you Wild Growth on turn 2 or do you Overgrowth on turn 3?
It's tough.
It looks like Harash has chosen to Overgrowth next turn, but
I think it might have been okay to coin the Wild Growth. There could be an argument there for it. But might just be looking to coin directly into the Overgrowth next turn.
Right.
Or just play the Wild Growth. But looks like going to go for that coin Overgrowth.
Yeah. Or we might be doing Zidra or Gerda.
The speaker.
Gerda into Nature Studies. Just to try to temper some of those damage here from Chronic.
Yeah. There kind of has been a pretty aggressive board already coming out from Chronic, so I like this here.
Yeah, and this Triumph Crescent, just being able to be a 1/4 weapon, just playing a Light's Justice here to take care of this,
the Ghidra. Yeah, that seems like probably one of the most effective uses it may get in this matchup. So I like the use of it.
Yeah, and just getting more minions out for Chronic. There's a Crystal Power, unfortunately not able to take care of that Fairy Dragon. But it can combine with the Hero Power to take out the 3/3 Battle Mage.
Gonna go for the Overgrowth here, get that ramp going, and heal up a little bit.
Alright, yep, deciding to heal instead of the Arcane Shot mode.
And Chronic just still pushing so much damage, which is what the Hunter deck wants to do. So one of these decks is really doing what it wants to do. The other deck, not as much.
Exactly. I can't say that I'm complaining though. There's that Broomstick, which could be nice with this Lake Thresher.
Yeah.
Taking care of 4 of these, taking care of the whole board actually.
Yeah.
Lake Thresher
can clear everything here.
Takes out a cat. And Broomstick clears up the Fairy Dragon. So really nice draw there for Harash to take himself out of that spot.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh, that's nice though, with the Diving Griffin off of Scoundrel's Ingenuity.
Giving it just enough of a buff to actually clear the Thresher here, too. Oof. That seems like a great card, but there's not really any cheap spells to pair with it right now.
And this Felmo is going off next turn. So we need to throw something down to try to, probably play the Lake Thresher, because at least if you do roll well on the Felmont and the minion takes a hit, at least you still have a minion. It's just gonna trade if you play the Twilight Runner.
Yeah. I think Harash would love to play that Twilight Runner out, but yeah, because the fact that Felma is about to wake up.
Like maybe you want to play Fungal Fortunes, see what happens, and then Lake Thresher as like the worst case scenario here.
Yeah, see what else he finds.
If you get a couple cheap spells, you can have a decent Mountain Seller turn that might get you next turn.
Yep, looks like gonna go for that Thresher like you were mentioning.
Yeah, I think like you want to play the Twilight Runner, but just with this Felma, you kind of have to do this. It's safer, and Harash rewarded by not only saving the 5 damage to face, but also having this 4/1 stick around.
Yeah, and this looks like another great use for this True Aim Crescent.
Yeah.
Just to clear this up.
Right, we have an interesting thing with this Wolpertinger and then like the Faithless Corruptor.
That's what I'm looking at too.
Be able to really fill up the board here.
Yeah.
Rottenness Drake doesn't have another dragon to be able to be active, so we're still waiting on that. And Unleash isn't very good.
Yeah. It does not do a whole lot here.
Unleash just chilling.
Yeah. And Harash is not running Swipe in the list, so I really don't mind this Wolpertinger and the Faceless, and just get out on board and hope that it's enough to kind of try to close out the game next turn or in the next 2 turns. But the Mount Seller might have something to say here.
Yeah, we were looking for something really cheap. We were looking for a cheap spell there for sure. And we got a Night Runner.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Overflow.
Try to get a good Mount Seller next turn. We can make... the Crystal Power is another 5 healing.
Draws the last 2 beasts as well. There are guardian animals left in the deck, but no beast to pull out of the deck with those. So...
Oh. Jeez.
Not the way that Harash wants this draw to go, but maybe with the Mount Seller and the Ysera can kind of figure out a different line here to go.
We could play the Teacher's Pet. What to do? Into Ironbark.
Yeah, I think Harash is deciding about playing out those spells this turn or saving them for that Mount Seller, though.
Yeah, I think you just want a Crystal Power and say maybe just you got to do 25 to me somehow.
No,
but
going for it.
Fire that off.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, it is already past turn 7 for Chronic, so, well, I was about to say the potential of Bran, and there it is.
Jeez.
That choice to actually use those spells and play out the taunt might have just saved Harash here.
Well, if Bran comes out, you have... Yeah, you'd be at 25 if you Crystal Powered last turn. If Bran does come out, you're taking 18. So, you're still going to be at 7. There's nothing that can do 1 damage, and there's nothing that can do a lot of damage for only 1 mana in this Hunter list. So I feel like, if you're playing around Bran, you're still safe if you just decide to Crystal Power.
That is true. Yeah, and he would have had to have gone for the Crystal Power last turn, but gonna go for it now.
Right.
Is this gonna be enough? Really needs to find more taunt or
we have
rush. Yeah. Finding a diving griffin here would be okay. Another taunt,
okay. Iron for Grizzly's not bad.
That Polk Helt is not a bad pickup at all for Chronic here.
Yeah, able to get Siamat to the top of the deck.
Yeah. Really probably would have loved to see a dragon.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Could have made a trade into the 3/3 and gone for a 50-50 with the Rot Nest, but no dragon in sight. And I'd imagine Chronic just double trade?
Do we play Hounds?
It might be worth it.
3.
Yeah. It might be worth it.
We use all our mana here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes the trading into the Mount Cellar a little bit cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, trading the Crush and then the 3 Hounds into the Mount Cellar allows for a value trade. Oh, okay. No, you're just gonna... Sure, this works too. Push more damage here. Get that hero power in.
Right. It's going to be 2 damage to the face. Brand still around. So there's that Guardian Animals that's totally dead. And here, like... I guess we just go, yeah, Wild Growth. Try to draw something a little better.
And
not what you really want to be doing.
No.
There's a Bog Beam, which cleans up the Crush.
Yeah.
But Twilight Runner just isn't going to be enough, right?
No.
Well, no, what we on board. Okay, Harash is at 1. 2.
He's still alive. Yeah.
We know Chronic's drawing Siamat.
So this probably just comes down with either Divine Shield Wind Fury or Taunt. I don't know if Taunt is necessary.
Taunt Shield, I think. No, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think this forces Harash to have an answer for it.
I mean, I feel like if you do Divine Taunt, then you don't have the clean trade with Polk Helt. But yeah, and I saw her coming down, putting 7 green portals in and hoping to draw a couple nice things off this thing, and we did not get it.
Nope.
We have one more. No.
Just gonna send his face right in to end the game there.
Yep. Go out on your own terms.
Yeah.
All right.
So Chronic taking that first game with that Highlander Hunter and has the Tempo Mage and the Libram Paladin left. And again, Harash can take any of the 3 decks other than that Soul Demon Hunter.
Yeah, Guardian Druid, Secret Rogue, pardon me, and Turtle Mage. So, I mean, I was picking Chronic here, and I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing a lot of the Highlander Hunter and Paladin myself, so I'm kind of with you there on I really like Chronic's lineup. But I do think it kind of just plays into, especially that Druid, kind of well. It can really, especially games like that where, I mean, Harash just had a kind of unfortunate draws with drawing all of those beasts and not finding guardian animals.
Yeah, really clunky there.
Yeah, worked against him for sure there.
Yeah, that wasn't quite the turn 2 guardian animals that we were looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what do you think Chronic's going to line up? Going with those 3 choices.
I like the Paladin. Okay. I'd like to see the Paladin next. But again, it is Conquest, and there always is the argument from a lot of players about just randomly queuing your decks, not really having any necessary order, making it a little bit more difficult for your opponent to kind of figure out what you're playing. But
I mean, that is true, but also, we do have those tiebreakers in this league. It isn't just one match. It's not like a tournament where you just
right. We do see the Paladin come out for Chronic, but Harash has switched over to Mage.
Turtle Mage. And there's a turtle.
Has that Pilgrim in hand. We know it's coming.
Drawing the Spellwing on turn 1, just like we've
been seeing that all night.
Although not so fortunate for Paladin, didn't get that Aldor attendant.
Yeah.
So we're just doing a Fire Blast and an attack here. Chronic with a turn 2 shot bot.
Yeah, much more of a kind of mid-game hand here from Chronic. Not a bad hand, though.
No. All right, we're going to go Wand Maker into Wand Thief, I presume?
Ooh, yep.
Oh, that Brain Freeze is nice.
Yeah. That Brain Freeze is not bad. There's the attendant.
I have on turn 3. So I feel like we're just gonna see the attendant shotbot here, and trade into, or just take out the Wand Thief.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of possibilities here. Chronic could also just play the Goody 2 shields. Really, if Chronic wants, could coin into that Lightforge Zealots and kind of just start applying pressure to face and just push a lot of damage.
Right, and looks like that's what he's going to do here. I don't think the good shields, the 2 shields wasn't a very good play. Just like looking into the board of a bunch of small minions for Harash, able to really clean up that divine shield. So
this board gets cleaned up really nicely by the Firebrand.
Firebrand Primordial Studies.
Ooh,
we didn't even get to look.
That was an immediate pick.
Violet Warden. Just snapping that off, so we have a nice turn 5 play here.
And this board looks way better for this Goody 2 shields to come out now.
Yep, still able to get our Alder Attendant down, and we have True Seeker next turn. So
nice curve there.
Let's draw that Libram of Wisdom.
Both Turtle and Pilgrims, both turtles there for Harash.
Both in hand.
Still a few turns away from playing those, though. I could just kind of go for the Frost Nova to freeze the board here. Not the most threatening board, but again, the way this format works, it is an open deck list format, and we kind of discussed those card choices for Chronic. Playing all of those kind of buff spells couldn't force Harash to really want to clear the board as often as possible.
Right. And we see here the Arcane Missile's not quite rolling as well for Harash. He'd hope not, 1 damage going to face instead of this attendant. So we're not able to clear up the full board. True Seer coming down, though, instead of a buff. So Harash just throwing that Cartridge Defender down instead of, even though we're really not getting too much out of that this turn.
Yeah, I think at this point, Harash is just going for kind of a stall plan. I think just trying to stall Chronic from really being able to attack in, just to get to those turn 8s. Because kind of once Harash gets to that turn 8 and can play the Tortollan, find board freezes and those potions and just do that over and over, it's going to make things very difficult for Chronic.
Yeah, so Chronic using the Blessing of Authority to clean up this card without losing a minion. Now we have this 9/6 Attendant. So we drew that Sun Reaver. But Violet Warden being in a really nice spot here, blocking and eating up a lot of this damage before the turtle comes down next turn.
Yep. And I like that preemptive kind of ping on setting that to 4 or to a 4/2 to try to set up for Tortolin coming down next turn and finding Blizzard. But another buff in hand for Chronic, so playing around that.
Yeah. What did we draw?
Yeah, that was so fast. I didn't even see what came off the top there.
Right. Oh, Jandis.
Okay.
Well, we have Frost Nova, so we can play Jandis board.
Ooh.
And we have
that mana or the Worm Weaver is pretty interesting with the
really
spell burst too.
Mm-hmm.
And Chronic has already used 1 Libram of Justice.
Yeah, there's the first day of school. So I'd imagine I don't know. Maybe we don't fire that off because we have the 2 shields, but looks like Chronic is going to see what we got. Reliquary of Soul. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
And
not sure how effective it will be, but
yeah, with all these turtles, but you know, if we do get a chance to attack at some point, the Abusive Sergeant could make some pretty favorable trades.
Yeah.
So Jandis is an interesting card because, like, you have this idea of like, do I pick the worst minion to like, because it's the worst minion, or do I try to like outsmart you and pick like the better minion?
Yeah, play those mind games. When the Blizzard coming into hand.
Oh my god, I was playing Demon Hunter and I got my Magtheridon got hit by mind games. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, no. not like this.
All right.
But just trading those mana worms away, because yeah, I mean, we drew a Blizzard, so maybe it's better to play the Blizzard, pump up our mana worms, right?
No, I think Harash is just going for
the thing.
Yeah. So can go for the potion again or freeze the board, but I'd imagine it's a freeze because there's a lot of damage on the board for Chronic.
Right.
Ooh. Allura coming into hand, but no spells to trigger that spell burst.
Mm-hmm.
And not as well, no answer to clear off this Tortolin.
Yeah, so Harash chose the Frost Nova over the Blizzard there. Maybe just trying to like preserve the number of, fill up Chronic's board and not give him an opportunity to make more taunts later on.
Yeah, that's kind of the line of thinking that I'd imagine was going through Harash's head, because we did see him take kind of a little bit of time to choose which route he wanted to go with that.
But, again, with open deck lists, we know that the only 3 options in Harash's deck are going to be Frost Nova, Blizzard, and Potion of Illusion. So, you have to figure, well, Harash didn't take Blizzard, so, definitely playing to clog our board, and, like, it makes that choice to hero power last turn a little suspect. Because it doesn't seem to me like we're going to be losing this 1/1 to anything. Putting the Blessing of Authority on Reliquary is fine, but you're not going to ever get the attack, I think.
Yeah.
You need to be able to give a taunt somehow. If we had a Arrow's Blessing, that might actually be pretty nice, but we don't.
Wow. And
here
we just see the power of this combo. There's just going to be so much damage coming out here.
Right. It's really impressive being able to use a Sun Reaver to just kill Chronic without even having to attack.
Yeah. And going for the blizzard this time.
There. Okay.
Getting rid of that taunt.
All right. Oh. Well, okay. Well, we have another one, so the shot back can be removed. I don't have another spell for Allura.
No.
And we're just gonna play the things and then die, I guess.
Probably, yep. Yeah. That feels like the story of Mage, right? Just you know, kind of wait around to wait around to just get demolished.
And that's gonna be it. So we are tied it up. That Turtle Mage win. So congrats to Harash for bringing this to 1-1.
Yeah, tying it up. Probably feels pretty good if you're Harash to kind of get that win with the Mage, especially after kind of the rough game one with that Druid and that just not working out. So, all right. Do you think Harash brings the Rogue next or goes in again with that Druid?
Oh, I'd like to see him bring Rogue. I think Rogue, I don't know, I don't like the Druid deck. I can't lie. I don't know. I feel like, you know, Harash, you know, like you said, Harash, you know, might have a hard time getting that Druid into these decks here. Pure Paladin able to make a lot of really big taunts. To the point where I think you just kind of hope that Harash can get an early survival, just so the minions have a chance of outclassing all of the big Paladin things. And Tempo Mage just has the ability to, you know, like we saw the Turtle Mage, you know, kind of combo freeze everything, but we saw, you know, how Tempo Mage can really, you know, generate a lot of the same spells and, you know, prevent your opponent from attacking anyway. So Harash deciding to bring Druid, trying to get that out of the way, right?
Yeah, and Chronic sticking with that Paladin.
Yeah, neither hand looks, I mean, the Chronic's hand is kind of, man, didn't really get much better.
Yeah, needs to draw a 1-drop on turn 1 here.
Yeah. And even against Druid, your hero power doesn't really guarantee you to have a target for Hand of a Doll either.
Yeah.
I mean, we see here that, you know, Harash has
trying those beasts.
Turn 1 Wild Growth, possibly. But yeah. Could see a turn 2 Overgrowth. No, but no, I think you just turn 2 Wild Growth, turn 3 Overgrowth, right?
I think so, yeah. Or could even at this point could even just innervate into one of those 5-drop beasts next turn as well. Probably the Twilight Runner to kind of start getting some draw going, but well, look at these buffs now piling up for Chronic.
Right.
It's kind of what Paladin's looking for, right? Just stick something and then these buffs can kind of just start going crazy.
Yeah, are we attacking for 7? We are.
And how does Druid deal with this? Druid doesn't have a way to deal with big minions. Unless that broom later.
Like I feel like the wild growth is kind of a trap there. Just, you know, if you don't have the wild growth, you're gonna hold, you know, you might coin wild growth on turn 3. Or coin overgrowth, I mean. And you know, turn 2's free to hero power to clean up that pesky little soldier.
Yeah, but Harash finds a way to clear it.
Yeah, taking 3 cards.
Yeah, drawing into more 0-cost spells, but can get an early Ysera out.
Yeah, that seems like, you know, that's the only thing that seems right now, and just hoping to draw into something.
Yeah, probably would really like to find a guardian animals.
Yeah, we didn't find all of the animals yet, so
Yeah.
that card still plays.
Yeah, there's still some in there this time.
Yeah, the overgrowth here not even being able to draw a card next turn with Harash only going up to 9 mana.
Yeah. Yeah, so really looking to draw something to do next turn. And
Chronic,
yeah.
Considering the Libram of Justice here, might seem a little wasteful with only 1 minion that's not super powerful, but, you know, does have 2 of them, so maybe, but...
I mean, I'm just wondering if Chronic really needs to use it for the 1 minion, because again, this list is running those guardian animals. There's now a bunch of portals in the deck, and the list is running double Mount Seller as well that can get some wide boards. So
yeah, this is surprising to me. I kind of like, you know, I mean, looking at the hand, I kind of like playing Allura into First Day at School.
That's, or even Devout Pupil and a Shot Bot would have been okay, you know, just kind of get on board.
Right.
Chronic's already been pushing a lot of damage, so maybe just trying to get on board and enforce an answer.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, I don't know if like I think maybe that turn with the broomstick just maybe told Chronic that Harash doesn't have much going on. So maybe just taking out Usara and being able to develop the board this turn. It's good. I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, taking the counter spell.
Counterspell is a card here that Harash plays so many like crappy ram spells
Like,
that
yeah, small.
That's going to be, you know, a big tempo disadvantage on mana to play counterspell. Like, I feel if you have a secret, like Harash is going to have a lot of things to bait with.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to catch their survival or their guardian animals with that.
Yep, and finding the guardian animals, being able to play it before the counterspell can even come down anyways. Great pickup for Harash there.
Yeah, I think those are the probably the 2 that she wanted. Right. So we're gonna just gem this overgrowth here and hope to draw another card. There's overflow.
Overflow might be helpful next turn. I think it's a matter of how Chronic can kind of get through. Yeah. Is there a way that Harash can really deal with this whole board here? I mean
if we Lightning Bloom, pop this Divine Shield.
Oh my gosh.
We just have to hit a taunt off of this. Oh no, we also have the other Lake Thresher. My bad.
Yeah.
I forgot the other one could.
Yeah.
could still attack. Okay. This is a little better, and we get a 6/6 because of that that Nether Dragon. I forget the name of it. Something like that, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So does force Chronic.
It's a rock through the warp. Okay. There we go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was thinking of the Craze Netherwang.
That Penflinger pickup.
Ooh,
oh my gosh.
Really nice.
Yeah. That actually might be lethal here if no taunt comes out from that Teacher's Pet. Starting with, if Chronic starts with that Libram of Justice, and then can Penflinger that 4/1 taunt,
right? Oh
yeah, you can Penflinger face first too.
Because the Penflinger cleans up. No, we have Rocket Augmerchant, which would clean up the taunt.
Yeah, either way. There's a lot of options here. Oh, Chronic not gonna go for it.
No, interesting.
Gonna give it Rush.
Okay.
Unfortunately, clears off the Divine Shield on it, but does still give it Rush here.
Yeah, they were bringing
setting Chronic to 1.
Chronic to 1. I feel like
yeah, that's a lot of 6/6s on the board. And the other guardian animals, there's still a Twilight Runner, I think. Have we seen both Twilight Runners?
Yeah, there's still a Twilight Runner left. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the counter spell because we. Oh my god.
Yeah. The counter spell did come down.
All of our zeros, and now Harash is.
I think Harash might try to test in the other ways for the Seeker first.
Yeah, but it's not gonna work.
Attack face here.
And the overload from. Yeah. No. Oh. The overload from Lightning Bloom making it impossible for Harash to do the hero power for that one extra armor.
Wow.
I mean, Chronic had it anyway with Penflinger, but it, really there were a lot of really close margins there. In that game.
Yeah, so Chronic finally getting a win with that Paladin. They're taking it up 2-1. Now Chronic just has to get a win with that Tempo Mage, and Harash. yeah, that Druid not doing it for him. Not getting there.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so Chronic's gonna be playing Tempo Mage. Deck we've seen a lot today.
Yeah. And it's performed pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even in the game it lost, I just think the Demon Hunter just got really had a really, really aggressive draw and was able to take out Tempo Mage pretty early.
I kind of feel like Harash might switch into the Rogue at this point. I think the Rogue has a little bit better of a matchup into the Tempo Mage.
But, I think so too. And cards like Plagiarize do, Plagiarize. We have the Cult Neophyte in there as well, being able to, be pretty reasonable speed bumps for this mage as well.
Yeah.
If you kind of want to anticipate when Chronic's about to go off and play either of those cards, the Neophyte just kind of negates the whole Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
And the Plagiarize is just all right, well, you cast all these things. Now I'm gonna get all of these. It's the Rogue doesn't have as many ways to take advantage of it, but it still is, it could be a kind of a draw for or something, depending on, if you have the mage against the corner. If you not, then they're just gonna then you just stall for a turn. But with the way that these tempo-based rogue decks play, they might not have the time to do that.
Yeah, this game I think is going to really come down a lot to draws. And I feel like we've seen that a lot tonight with, even in our first series, drawing into kind of those one drops and being able to put shards or soul fragments into the deck, discounting the Libram spells. But if Harash can kind of draw a couple of those key cards, or if Chronic's Mage can't draw very well, then, which we've seen that tonight as well, the deck's not drawing very well.
For sure.
Some of these decks really can struggle if they just don't draw a couple of those key cards. Some decks in the past and in previous metas, even if you don't kind of draw ideally, you can still kind of find some other lines or other ways to get on board or play for tempo, do other things like that. But these decks, especially kind of this mage, there might not be a lot of ways. You're really looking for those couple of big swing turns, with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, with Cyclone, with Shenvala, or those big giants.
All right, so we will be going to the match in just a moment. Just a reminder, we can find out everything about our league on aspirant.gg. And if you're interested in playing, I mean, this is the biggest season we've had yet, and keep growing. So we have a Discord as well. So you can find the link to the Discord in our bio on Twitch or on the website. And we're in the middle of both of our Magic and Hearthstone seasons right now. But if you join, you'll be able to get alerted when our next seasons open up.
Right, looks like Harash stayed with that druid. Go for it.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's... I mean, we got 2 big minions and an overgrowth and no coin this time for Harash. Chronic with the spell wing on turn 1. And
finds an innervate.
That's nice, yeah.
So at least next turn can innervate into that overgrowth. So it's something.
Yeah.
Oof. I'm looking at this though. If Harash ends up doing that, and then following that overgrowth, if there's no other answer, might just play that Twilight Runner, which Chronic has this Firebrand and some spells in hand, and that will just destroy that Twilight Runner.
Oh, that's so rude.
Yeah, we might see Harash's hopes and dreams kind of just start to get crushed away here.
Yeah,
picking up a polymorph too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a nice pickup here.
The guardian animals, though.
I mean, we have to get up to 7.
Does help, right?
So that'll happen 2 turns from now.
But for Harash, though, that broom in hand might actually be okay for that Twilight Runner. The Twilight Runner broom. We kind of saw him do that previously, so I just go for it. Oh, the second Twilight Runner in hand now.
Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking about that last turn, but I just miscounted the mana with Overgrowth. I was like, we do have the Broomstick to be able to get our cards immediately to kind of prevent Firebrand from being a blowout. And with open deck lists, it's something you have to consider is like, how big is this blowout? How big is the blowout if Chronic happens to be holding Firebrand?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the other possibilities to deal with that are, but
Chronic even picking up the second Firebrand as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine we just see this guardian animals come down.
Right, get those 2 Lake Freshers out. No, we're gonna go with
debating.
I mean, I don't want to draw Lake Freshers.
Yeah.
Might as well play the guardian animals, right? Our Mount Seller is only gonna get us 1 card.
Yeah.
We don't know about the polymorph, but there's still Chronic's got 7 cards in there plus the coin, so it's possible Chronic could have a reasonable answer here.
I'm gonna go for the Mount Seller here. All right, decent board, but yeah, Chronic has some answers. Could just go for the polymorph. No need to really go for a Firebrand yet.
And deciding whether to fire off either of these cards, there's no dragon for the Arcane Blast.
Yeah, the Arcane Breath doesn't. It'll just clear something.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, 1/1 even. Like, it's not that great.
Yeah.
I think maybe there's a line to coin there and then play Cyclone, just get 2 spells. I think maybe that's what Chronic was thinking about.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said when we covered this deck before, the coin is so powerful in this deck, being with all of those like small spell interactions.
Yeah.
You really have to get opportunity, and I mean Guardian Druid does it too. Being able to turn that coin into something much more than just 1 mana. And here I'm probably going to set up a Cyclone turn. So that coin being another spell to get off of Cyclone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chronic kind of was debating about playing that second Firebrand, but playing the second Firebrand limited kind of the rest of the turn. But yeah, going for this turn does allow for more spell generation here, which is also great for the Mana Giant in hand as well. Look at these spells that came from the Cyclone too.
Yeah,
pretty good pickups.
Yet another thing that benefits from coin, right?
Yeah. Like you said earlier, it's just turned it into something more than just an additional mana.
Yeah, Chronic was really looking for that Arcane Missile to knock something down to 2 health.
Yeah.
To turn that Arcane Blast into a clean removal, but Overflow from Harash, healing all the work that Chronic just did, damaging these minions, and starting to put pressure. Chronic has some answers, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Harash has a Guardian Animals with no more beasts left in the deck, and that's kind of the only thing going on in this hand. There's the 2 beasts that we can play, but they won't have Rush unless we play the Broomstick. So I guess we do kind of have a build your own Guardian Animal.
Yeah.
It's not, this isn't the way that we wanted to do it, but it works.
Yeah, it's like those build your own pizza kits. I mean, it might be missing a couple toppings, but it's the base is there.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna turn out as good as the ones you get from the pizzeria, but or even a frozen one. But it still gets the job done.
Yep. So
we're gonna Broomstick here, not use any of the ramp, and just draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So
and I do like that play here from Harash. I think kind of alluding to saving some of these spells for a little bit later to pair with the Mount Cellar if needed. But also picks up the Siestera too. It's pretty big.
Having those 2 crystal powers, being able to really keep these minions at full health, because we've seen a lot of this chip damage from Chronic, hoping to whittle away at this board over several turns, and Harash just keeps healing them back up.
Yeah, Harash is making this board very difficult for Chronic to deal with.
Is this Guardian Priest instead? Is that what we're doing now?
Well, Chronic just gonna go for the Giant though. All right.
Yeah.
We see
a couple of Ray of Frost freezes here.
See the Conjures too? All right, let's do it.
What do we got?
Okay.
All right. Those are things. Let's get that Violet Warden.
Yeah. The Maligos always looks enticing at first, but it's not quite cost effective for what this deck is doing.
Right.
He does pick up the Mount Cellar here, but Harash decides just to start going for these dream portals.
Yeah, I just realized there that Archmage is just a worse version of Violet Warden.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are times where you don't want to taunt, but seeing them lined up next to each other was kind of funny. Alright, so Harash getting that extra card off of Overgrowth here.
Yeah.
And trying to draw one of these dream portals. And did we do it? We did.
What did we one.
Oh, we got an Onyxia.
That's a good buddy.
Oh, we got another one.
Oh
no.
Yeah, that is pretty solid for Harash here.
Oh my lord. We really need a... Yeah, let's...
All right, make one more space in the hand for this evocation.
This is a Hail Mary. We got a
Yeah.
No, we didn't get Frost Nova, did we? No.
Mm-mm.
Vaporize.
Yeah, is that enough though?
Flame Ward?
Gonna start with that devolving missiles.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, it's dodge. And what's the 5/5?
The 5-mana spell? Or the
No,
5
that one,
the
okay. I was like,
Arcane Devour.
It's got the trigger on it, so I'm like, what is it? Because that might, be something weird.
This is just so awkward.
Not like dissimilar to like randomly getting a Doomsayer off of something and just oops.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh.
Wow, though that pickup.
That was a really good.
Yeah.
Conjurous Calling.
Okay, though there's 10 possible damage on board for Harash with that hero power. 1 off. Can Harash find a way to deal damage?
There's Malygos.
Yeah.
If he finds a way to deal damage, it's gonna be
gonna go for nature studies. Okay.
All right.
Still searching.
Worthy Expedition for a choose one.
Keeper of the Grove. Finally, Harash finally finds
and we're
a win.
pinging this Grommash.
Oh yeah. Oh, you have to. You gotta ping the Grommash.
Nice.
Finally finds a win with that Druid. Oh.
Third time's a charm, right?
That's right. But going to game 5, going all the way to the end, going to a game 5 could be a match point for either player. Still,
well, it will be.
So, well, yeah, that's true. But I mean, either player can get the win here, right? So it's still kind of undecided here. All right. Well, this Tempo Mage, kind of that we've been seeing all night for Chronic, and then the Secret Rogue for Harash. Who are you favoring here?
I like the Mage.
I think a lot of
things that Rogue is doing, like there are a couple speed bumps, like you mentioned earlier, but the Rogue is just kind of like relying on a couple of those, big tempo threats like Questing Adventure and Edwin. Like the secrets can generate a lot of value and be kind of annoying. But I feel like the Mage has a lot of like really efficient ways to deal with both small minions and stalling large minions.
Yeah, it really does. And the possibility to just discover and generate so many additional resources as well. Harash can do that to an extent. If that rogue can find the Shadow Jeweler Hanar and generate some different secrets, but it's a little bit less consistent than the possibilities from the Mage.
Right. And Evil Miscreant and Pharaoh Cat being able to also generate some cards.
Yeah.
But it just isn't as consistent as the Mage.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to get a bunch of cards that, like, sometimes you get a Generous Mummy.
Yeah.
And you just no. Or like even a Wrapped Golem, which is like not the worst thing in the world. It's just so clunky that it's going to be really hard to make that card good against Mage.
Yeah. I think some of those secrets and that secret generation, especially with that Jeweler Hanar, is really going to make a difference there. And if Harash finds, you were kind of talking about like Edwin and things like that early, if he can find it early, then maybe it's just enough. It'll be enough to just kind of play out earlier as kind of a mid-sized minion. Just to potentially draw out some of those freezes or something early.
Yeah, like a 6/6 on turn 2 isn't the worst,
Yeah, and if Chronic can't find freezes or an answer for something like that, even a mid-sized minion might be kind of difficult to deal with it. Finding firebrands could be a big deal as well in this matchup. to help clear up some of that stuff. But this might go either way. It feels so close.
Yeah. And you know, seeing the placement of like when Cult Neophyte or Plagiarize come down could really break this game also.
Yeah. I mean, we really might see a lot of spells being thrown around if that Plagiarize goes into kind of a turn where Chronic plays a bunch of spells and then a Cyclone, or there could be a ton of different generated stuff coming out this game.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Me too. And game 5, so here we go. This is going to be the last game.
I mean, Harash's hand looks pretty great.
Yeah.
Maybe you throw back the Secret Passage. And I guess throwing back a Pharaoh Cat, but
yeah.
Curving out, and we have that Miscreant on the coin.
Chronic keeping the draw potential here. Finding something to do on turn 1 at least. Not bad.
Now we have something on turn 2 something to do on turn 2.
Second Solarian? Or do you go for the lab partner to make it free?
I just take the lab partner here. I don't think Solarian's fine, but like plays really poorly into backstab, and also just are you gonna get to the point where you're gonna want your 7 mana thing? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah. And I like the lab partner with it. Because keeping that cram session at the beginning too just makes this so nice. But gonna go for the Solarian.
We get the Solarian into Want Thief on turn 2, which is really nice tempo play. And we still have Lab Partner Cram Session next turn to kind of build our own. I just blanked on the card. Arcane Intellect? Yeah, that one. Harash the Want Thief of his own.
There is that early Edwin too. We kind of talked about.
There's definitely a lot of options here for Harash.
Yeah.
It looks like we're going to just Dirty Tricks. So we're not going to fire off the early 6/6 win. Which, I mean, to be fair, into a board of 4 attack with spell damage is probably not gonna be a trade. So I think, it's that. But there's a possibility to also just fire off a Miscreant on turn 2. Get a couple lackeys.
Kind of just like the lab partner cram session here.
Yeah.
Get some more card draw, especially with the Cyclone or the Cyclone coming into hand too.
Yeah, this kind of spell that we found off the One Thief. Not really a good play on turn 3, especially when Harash hasn't played the coin yet.
Yeah. So, both players just drawing some cards here. This could be a big Edwin.
Oh, yeah.
If Harash wants to go for it.
Prep here.
Yeah.
I think he is. Oh,
I think so too. Okay, the Polymorph. Yeah, pretty good with that Solarian, potentially. Yeah, might just go for that instead. That's a hard choice.
And we prep into Eviscerate.
Yeah.
To take out the Solarian. Which, like, Solarian's the highest damage board, kind of protects your Edwin.
Yeah.
A little disappointing to use it on the 3/2 that you already attacked once, but like, or that you already did damage to, but it needs must here, I guess. Oh, finding Devolve off of that.
I mean, the Ray of Frost was already in hand too, but yeah, this Devolving Missiles.
Well, Ray of Frost delays it for 2 turns, and Devolving Missiles just deals with it.
Yeah.
All right, and let's make that a Wisp. Or a Penguin or whatever.
Duskimp.
Yeah.
Nope,
there we go. I was like, what's the other one? It's Duskimp. But
and can even ping it down with that hero power if Chronic so chooses.
That was a really big Wisp turn for Harash.
Yeah. That Wisp value.
I guess we're deciding, do we want a Mana Cyclone? No, we have 2, so we can get 2 spells off of it.
Pyroblast, why not?
Right? Alright, so we're gonna Mermy into the Miscreant here. Those are good pickups. Ethereal and Draconic Lackeys.
Yeah, there's Jandas on curve. Ooh, not the best minions though.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you are adding 9 attack to 5 mana.
Yeah.
And just decided to, take away the Mermy.
Yeah, Chronic just keeping control of this board here. And I like it. There's not a lot of ways for Rogue to kind of deal with wide boards. So it does make it a little bit awkward for Harash to have to try to find answers for, but...
Right. We're doing
the... I was going to say a fan of knives would be great. The Betrayal's not bad either.
Right. But I think we're just picking Backstab just for mana efficiency. Another Ethereal Lackey.
Ooh.
I mean, dirty tricks, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Chronic's going to be playing spells, so you've got your 2 mana to draw to.
Yeah.
I guess, just playing all the lackeys here. Probably Twilight Drake, yeah. Just with all the cards in hand here.
Yeah, no.
Backstabbing the 3/2.
Another
Twilight Drake. All right. I mean,
small board for Harash though, but no Firebrand.
Right. Twilight Drakes can survive a lot of blizzards, just saying.
Yeah. All of the arcane missiles and Firebrand stuff is really going to be a bit ineffective.
This is something the Conjure is calling here. Turning that 4/4 after an attack into a 4/4 and a 5/5.
Bad.
Was that called Neophyte? And
just a Twilight, and yeah,
we know that Chronic's not doing anything next turn, but Harash doesn't know that, and we have a called Neophyte.
Oh,
there's Solarian on 7. No,
and it is not affected by that Cold Neophyte either. All right, let's see what comes out here.
Puzzle box. Oh god, those are bad.
All right, freezes the 1/1. Frostbolt.
Okay, Neophyte's dead. Oh god.
Okay.
6 damage to the Twilight Drake.
Did
the board
pretty good job. Yeah.
Is the Mana Giant and Elemental?
The Mana Giant, yes, it is.
Okay, so we can do the Elemental Allies thing with Mana Cyclone and Mana Giant. So it's not totally dead. There's a 1-maker. Yeah, this is really running away for Chronic, I think. Just generating so many cards.
Yeah. I wonder if Chronic is debating about using this second half of the Conjures again.
It's tempting to save it because you have the Mana Giant.
Yeah,
but at the same time, this one was created, so it's going to reduce Mana Giant.
Yeah.
And also just keeps the pressure on, but decides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, just decides to ping instead.
Yeah.
And play that counter spell. Plagiarize, giving. I mean, we knew it was plagiarized, right? Because ambush was checked by the 2/2.
But I mean,
And
it's
Dirty
just a funny
Tricks,
interaction with that secret because
right?
now Harash knows what the secret is, so it just gives him so much
Hmm.
information.
Right. I think you just jam a secret passage here to like pop it.
Sure. Could just go in on minions instead and just forget about
Of course,
spells for the
yeah.
time being too.
Well, when we
And
do want to get rid of it.
yeah. Oh wow, what a pickup with that
Goblin
goblin
Lackey
lack.
is really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're one turn away from this Pyroblast too. Just wanna bring
forgot
that
about
back
that.
up. Yeah, so there could be a case here for Chronic wanting to just push damage and set Harash to 10. But if Harash sees that, oh my
This
gosh.
thing, Alucard. Oh my god.
So, but
Right,
Harash knows about this counter spell.
yeah.
Maybe the counter spell comes out and then Chronic has no way to kind of trigger that first.
Well,
Or
Chronic's
it would delay.
not on the same turn.
Right, yeah.
But Chronic, I mean, Harash, the Chronic, okay. The Pyroblast was created, so it's not
Yeah.
something that Harash is going to necessarily have on his radar.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Alec here is such a good card off that.
Oh, I really wanted to see the
fine.
pink face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, there's so much damage on this board, though, that I mean, the Pyroblast probably isn't needed. But, you know.
Yeah, you'd love to see it, though. Okay, we're going to use Learn Draconic to get rid of that thing. That's fair. Harash not really trying to get that 6/6. Yeah, how do you get out of this?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know if you do.
On Baker for... Yeah, it's not going to...
Going for the
It's not a
secret
Wand
passage.
Thief. It's not going to be able to give you like a Froststone.
Okay.
Flick
Flick is too expensive. Can't even play it.
is a prep. Jandis.
Yeah,
Well
the well played coming out too. Yeah. Just was not enough. Chronic was able these last like 2 turns to just take advantage of that generation. And I mean, you know, got some pretty nice minions out on board too that really helped that.
Yeah, Alikir being huge there too. Just
yeah,
you're getting 6 charge damage off of your Condor's Calling. Like, come on.
yeah, but I feel like that series was the whole series, all 5 games, pretty well played by both.
Yeah, I think maybe just that devolving missiles on Edwin.
Yeah, that last game, like, and 3 tries to get a win with the Druid.
Yeah.
You know, really kind of made a big difference in that series overall, I think, for Harash too. But because if Harash had gotten a win earlier with that Druid, you know, even going into that devolving missiles against Edwin in that game, if Harash had a second game potential with the Rogue, maybe he could have gotten there with it. But yeah, well played to both, though. That was a really fun series, and a lot of crazy shenanigans happening throughout that series.
Yeah, and Chronic getting the win. You know, we did talk about how we had some veterans and some new people. So both of our veterans won this.
Yeah,
but Chronic was 0-2 before this, so Chronic did have a bye and just got his first win. Whereas Harash was 2-1 and fell down to 2-2. So
yeah,
Chronic, you know, really needed this win just to kind of hang in his division. Yeah, so congrats. You know, that's something that, you know, these players really need to be like thinking about every week is, you know, just playing well and trying to have good lineups and win, right?
Yeah. And you know, we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier as well, but you know, for Harash, even getting those 2 wins, losing the series though, like you mentioned, dropping to 2-2 overall, but if Harash can snag several more wins throughout the next several weeks, these series that go to 5 games can help tremendously with those tiebreakers. So not bad at all for Harash, even though he ends up losing. But getting those 2 games in could make a difference down the line, and we will have more information for playoffs and kind of what the brackets and those breakoff points are looking like as we get a little bit closer to that. But yeah, again, just really well played, and congrats to Chronic.
And congrats to Tues as well for getting that first win earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so are we excited to see more Warrior bans next week? Like I feel like I feel like something's gotta change with that deck, right?
It's funny because sometimes Warrior doesn't get banned. There are also lineups that people bring to target Warrior as well, and I think we've even saw that in the most recent Masters tour, where there were people bringing lineups with like 8 different weapon removal techs throughout their lineup. Yeah, so tremendously targeted against Warrior. So it does feel like either it's being banned or it's being heavily targeted. So maybe we'll see some changes to that. But personally, I'd rather see some changes to Mage. But we did only see, like you mentioned at the beginning, all 4 of these players brought Mage. Only one of them was Turtle Mage. And none of the mages ended up getting banned, but they all performed pretty well.
Turtle Mage just looked really impressive in that one game that we.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's all we have for week 3 here for Aspirant Season 5 for Hearthstone League. Just to let everyone know, if you are interested in playing, then wouldn't have in front of like 3 months, because we have another like 2 months of the season. Usually take a little break. But you can find links to our Discord in our bio here, as well as on our website, aspirant.gg. You can find all of our standings and our decks and all the decks that people brought for this week and the other weeks on the website as well. And if you are interested in, if you play Magic and you are if you're interested in Magic, we do have a Magic League as well. It's for female, non-binary, other marginalized genders. And they have their weekly stream Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you're interested in that and you are one of those people, you can join the Discord as well and be alerted when their next season opens.
Absolutely. So thank you everybody so much for joining us as well tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed these matches, and if you want to find more, like Anna Jane said, join the Discord, go to the website, follow on Twitter, and check out Aspirant on YouTube as well to watch any of the past series, past VODs that you may have missed, and get caught up with both the Hearthstone and the Magic Venus and Mercury League.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week. Hope 2020 gets a little better in the next week, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Anna Jane APG. See you later.